morning, intellectuals reborn. My name is Simply-Mapili, and I'm going to be discussing on the difference between self-help literature and fiction literature. Okay, so we're going to take some time in the intellectuals reborn discussing about the two differences between these types of literature: a self-help book and a classical work of fiction like Crime and Punishment. Okay, I'm not giving it the credit that it's due because it needs its own video. This novel needs its own video, but that's going to be for future. Now I come to a book like John C. Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. It does deserve the credit that's due. This is, in my opinion, if it comes to self-help books, should be a 4.8 out of 5 star book, because you get to learn a lot about leadership. If I was young and if I had the opportunity to take a book to myself in the past, I would take this book, 5 Levels of Leadership, so I would better understand leadership back then. Now we come to ask the question: what's the difference between the types of literatures? Why I'm creating also these videos, because I've come to understand that there's a bias between the two literatures. People think that one is greater than the other, and especially the country where I'm living currently, Zambia. People can think that this book, the self-help literature, is greater than, just to make the point, than fiction, and which is not the point. It's not supposed to be like that. In reality, this literature, fiction, is greater than self-help. If you have anything to say, you can say it down in the comments, but my conclusion is that this literature is greater than this one. That's from personal observation, and also maybe just personal studies. Let me just show you how. You can see that there are a lot of notes in this one compared to this one. Why so? There's a reason why pieces of fiction are greater than self-help books. Self-help books have a lot to teach you, but they only teach you facts. That's what the problem is. Science teaches you facts also, but when you come to fiction, it teaches you not only facts, it takes you on an adventure, it takes you on a journey. It tells you about a character who you can relate to, and it makes you see or empathize with characters. For example, in Crime and Punishment, you go on a journey with the main character, Raskolnikov, and you get to see his thought pattern. You get to see his worries, his fears. But not only that, it comes to teach you about how crime actually happens. There was a great question in the book: does the environment contribute to the crime, or something like that? I think it should be page 2 something there. I don't want to lie, it should be, yeah, this one. It asks a lot of philosophical questions, and it asks you, the reader, a lot of questions that you should consider as a reader. So you get to grow more when you read these type of books than when you read these. And that's what I wish I knew last year, before I started investing so much in self-help books. I started discarding fiction, and now I'm back. I can say I'm proudly back. But there's a lot to learn from these pieces of literature that you can't learn from these. while you can have great writers in the self-help book genre, even most self-help book writers can admit that the pieces, that the works are not as great as these. That doesn't mean you shouldn't read these, but it means that you need to read these. You have to create a balance between the two literatures. So if you want to read these, why not read this as well? But this was just a brief video. I just wanted to share a small, or it's just some thoughts I had on the biases of, or the opinions that most people have about self-help books and fiction. I know this is a low quality video. I deliberately did that, but next time we're going to create a better video than this, and at least we'll be exploring more about fiction literature. Self-help book will give it its credit, but not so much. Okay, thank you intellectuals for joining me today. See you next week.